always running late, missing deadlines, and you feel like you're drowning in your to-do list, these 5 ADHD-proof time strategies actually work. Welcome to the College ADHD Coach. I'm Amy. I'm a mom of 3 who's launched 3 to college in the last 5 years, and I've worked with neurodivergent students for the last decade. And what I know is that ADHD students are the best ever to work with. They're so creative, they're so smart, they're so bright, but most of our academic systems just aren't made for them. And so they struggle unnecessarily. And so that's what I do is I help ADHD students figure out what works for them. So timeliness is a big deal for a lot of our students. A lot of our students struggle with timelines, deadlines, and what they find is that their work ends up not being its best, or they end up getting really bad grades because they miss deadlines frequently. So it's something that we work on frequently. If I have 10 students who struggle with making deadlines, at least 9 of them have different reasons for struggling. So it's really important to have a college ADHD coach who knows your student, takes the time to understand what's going on with your specific student and help find the strategies that work for them, versus just trying a bunch of generic strategies and hoping that they work and then having the student encounter failure after failure after failure. That's something that we just really don't want. So let's get started on this today. If you've ever said, I had so much time earlier, like what happened? Where did the week go? Where did the day go? Where did the hour go? You're not alone. ADHD brains struggle with time blindness. It's not about laziness. It's about how your brain actually perceives the time passing. So let's break down 5 time management strategies that respect your brain's wiring and actually have a decent shot of working. The first one is time blocking. Now, I know if you have ADHD or you have a loved one with ADHD, you have heard about time blocking before. But what most people tell you is that you need to write down the specific task and the specific time of day that you're going to do it. And then you just need to do it. It's not that hard. Just try harder. Do it faster. You can get it done. That's actually not how it works, though. What we need with our ADHD brains is we need a time block that allows us to do a specific kind of task, but not the specific task. That gives us enough flexibility to work on how we're feeling, to work off of what we're hyper-focused on that day to be productive. So we need a time blocking schedule that works for us in that way. So what I suggest is do not schedule every 15 minutes. Especially do not schedule every 15 minutes where you switch task every 15 minutes. That just doesn't work well. What you're going to want to do is you're going to want to divide your day into chunks, morning, afternoon, and evening. And what you're going to want to do is you're going to give yourself flexibility to work on the tasks that you need to work on during that time. But knowing what tasks that need to be worked on is kind of half the battle. So it's great to start with a to-do list. And then as you're looking at your day and you know your energy levels, then you can assign the task into that time. You want to try to skip from switching the type of task like during that same block. So that way you can actually make some productive progress on that task. So divide the day into chunks, morning, afternoon, and evening, and then go from there rather than trying to block out every 15 minutes. Time blocking works for ADHD when it's flexible. So just give yourself windows and function within those. And remember, it's all a work in progress. So give yourself some compassion if it doesn't work perfectly the first time. The strategy 2 is the Pomodoro technique. This is a timer countdown overlay. So what you do is you set a timer for 25 minutes and you work for 25 minutes straight. And then you take a 5-minute break. You repeat that 4 times and then you take a longer break. It works because it gives your brain short sprints and it gives you a reward to look forward to. Now, to do this, you really have to make sure that those rewards are actually things that you really enjoy, because otherwise it just all becomes too taxing and it's too much to do. So we want to have some fun during our day. We want to get up and get moving, and we don't want to just doom scroll during our breaks. That will really affect your mental health. Number 3 is we want to brain dump and pick the daily top 3. So we're going to take a notepad or a planner and we're literally going to write down every single thing that we need to do or that is on our mind. We're taking it out of our brain and placing it on that piece of paper. And then we look at it objectively and we pick the top 3 that must be done that day. And that's what we work on first. Now, what could happen is you could actually gain some momentum and end up getting more than 3 done. And if that happens, great. You feel great about yourself and it's a win for the day. Strategy 4 is backward planning and big deadlines. So if you have a paper due Friday, your ADHD brain may not kick in. And so you're like, I'm not even gonna be able to start till Thursday. And then I'm going to end up being late on it. Instead, what we want to do is we want to tell our brain that on Monday, we've got to pick a topic. That's the deadline for that. On Tuesday, we've got to do our research. That's the deadline for that. On Wednesday, the deadline is for the outline. On Thursday, the deadline is for most of the writing. And on Friday by noon, that deadline is to finish that edit and get it submitted, even though it's not due till midnight. When you get it in at noon, you give yourself a big break, a big reward, do something fun. You do a dance party, go play a game with your friends, buy yourself a cup of coffee, whatever works for you, so that you can celebrate that big achievement of getting that major project done because you broke it down and tricked your brain by giving yourself 5 different deadlines instead of just that one big deadline. Strategy 5, transition timers. One thing we don't do well with ADHD is switching tasks. When we get on a task, we like to a lot of times hyper focus and go deep into it and get a whole lot of it done at one time. And so what can help is setting a transition timer so that you kind of warn your brain that this time period working on this is about to come to a stop. And it's really easy. You can play a song, you can use a buzzer. If you really want to get high level professional with it, I like to do things like when I know that it's bedtime, I like to put a little bit of lavender in the diffuser, or I like to burn a candle so that not only does my brain know that it's bedtime, but I also like kind of condition myself to know, oh, that smell, it's it's bedtime. We're getting close to bedtime. So you can do these things to set up cues in your day that will help you move through your day and be less chaotic. It helps signal your brain and your nervous system that it's time to switch from this task to the next thing on our day, whether that be relaxing with your family, whether it be getting ready for bed, all of those things. I have a bonus tip for you though. I've created this thing called Rescue GPT, and it's also a workbook. Some ADHD students don't like workbooks. Some love a workbook. If you love a workbook, it's for you. But it's also a customized GPT suite where you can go to Chat GPT and you can brain dump to it. You can tell it all of the things you have to do. You can drop in your syllabi, you can drop in your semester rubrics and all of those things, and it will literally tell you step by step what to do. So you don't have to sit there and be overwhelmed and not know where to start. Sometimes what happens is when we brain dump and we get all of that stuff on paper, we're so overwhelmed that we don't know where to start with anything. And so we do nothing. And the problem is when we do nothing, the tasks continue to pile up, the semester gets out of control, and very quickly it's not within our control to actually rescue that semester. And so I would highly recommend that if this sounds like something that happens to you or your student, you look at Rescue GPT. It's literally a $15 one-time investment. It's a no-brainer, and it's customized because your student will put in their information. And when I say information, I mean like the task that they need help with, and it will spit back to them an itinerary. It'll tell them how to structure it. It'll tell them how to break apart the assignments to make it easier, and it will assist their ADHD brain in rescuing the semester. It's truly, truly a great little tool, and it works so great. I use it every day myself. So thanks for joining us for this video. As you know, we do college ADHD coaching around here. So college ADHD executive functioning skills is kind of our jam. So thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time.